Okay, it is now 11 a.m. in Abilene, Texas. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's SWOT Analysis webinar. My name is Del McGee, and I work for America's Small Business Development Center at Texas Tech University here in Abilene. Please mute your microphones during the presentation so as not to disturb other participants. And as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded for preservation and future presentation on our social media channels, primarily YouTube. I'm excited to dive into this topic this morning and provide valuable insights to help you analyze your business environment effectively. It will also allow you to analyze yourself. As for me, I'll be your guide throughout this webinar. I have over 40 years of experience in the food service, hospitality, and lodging business, and I'm a certified business consultant through the American Association of Small Business Consultants. I have a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and a master's degree in management. I'm very passionate about helping small businesses and small business owners leverage their strengths, address weaknesses, capitalize on opportunities, and navigate threats. As I mentioned previously, I work for America's SBDC at TTU Abilene. We provide no-cost consultation, research, and training such as this. Our team is dedicated to providing strategic guidance and support to businesses like yours. Over the course of this webinar, we'll delve into the world of SWOT analysis, its importance, and how it can empower your decision-making process. We'll explore practical examples, share valuable insights, and equip you with actionable strategies. So what does work smarter for your small business actually mean? We're going to talk about the purpose of conducting a SWOT analysis and what it is, not only for you, but for your business as well. So you should be doing two of them. Let's look at some ways you can work smarter for your business with a SWOT analysis. So how do you get there? What exactly is a SWOT analysis? Okay, in a few slides, I'll go into a bit more detail about this, but SWOT analysis, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is a square matrix chart that allows you to analyze yourself and see what you do well, what you don't do so well, and what type of opportunities exist and what type of threats exist that can cause you some hardship in your business decision-making process. So how do you actually do this? One of the ways is to improve your operational efficiency. It could be in the way that you check out customers, maybe make it more efficient. It could be also that you maximize your profit potential of your business, or that you're doing constant improvements in everyday systems, little things like flow of traffic, moving something closer to another area so it's more convenient. Like if you have a retail grocery store, you may group similar food items in a category so that it's more efficient for a customer to shop. Your SWOT analysis is a great way for you to start to look at these things, because you look at yourself and see what you do well and what you don't do so well. And then that way you can figure out what you need to do to improve upon that. So your SWOT analysis is a strategic planning framework that's used to evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of a business owner and businesses or a specific situation. Okay. It provides a structured approach to assess both internal and external factors that can impact the success or performance of your business or yourself. It allows you to conduct a critical self-analysis of the business. It also highlights factors that businesses should consider when planning for the future. It provides a comprehensive overview of your company and yourself. And with all of this, when you conduct it all and put it all together, it allows you to start building a strategic plan. So your strategic plan actually starts to emerge once you start delving into the SWOT analysis. You start seeing things differently. The point is with this is you have to be truthful to yourself. Don't deny that you don't do something not so well. It's okay to say, I don't know how to do something, or I don't do this well, because no one does everything great. Although we seem to think that we do all the time. It's the little factor that we don't like the way people do things because it's not our way. That can be considered a weakness in some regards. Ultimately, the past does not equal the future. This is for all you people that like these equations and these formulas. Past not equal to the future is very important because your past successes are not a guarantee of future success. Just because something worked previously doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. Just because you did something well previously doesn't mean you're going to do it in the future. I'm a lot older now than I was before. So the things I used to do when it comes to work, I can't do no more, or they become more difficult for me to do. So I need to find different ways to accomplish the tasks that I used to find mediocre and easy to do quickly. And your past failures do not have to be repeated. If you are repeating the past failures, you are stuck on that treadmill and you need to look at what you're doing incorrectly so that you can correct it. That's the purpose of your SWOT analysis. So when you're doing your SWOT analysis, the factors that affect your long-term future and profitability of a business, you need to look at these because these are important things. You want to capitalize on your strengths and opportunities. Okay, the things that you do well, you want to keep doing them because that's going to be your breadwinner. That's going to be your moneymaker. That's what's going to help you drive your business forward. That's what's going to help you drive your people forward, okay, and get them to do the things that you need them to do. You want to improve upon your weaknesses. So you want to identify what you don't do so well so that you can strengthen that. It may be a matter of going to take a financial class. If you don't know how to do financials, the SBA has a website, SBA Learn. You can go and learn about financials. It will help immensely. It's a little thing. You do it at your own pace. If you don't know how to do something in your business, you find that what my boss calls the wizard, the person that knows how to do everything in the business and does it well, and say, hey, show me how you do this because I need to improve how I do this. It may mean stepping out of your role for a day, one day a week, where you go, you know what? I'm not going to be the boss today. I'm going to go out there and work the floor so that I can improve upon what I do. That's the purpose of identifying your weaknesses. And you also want to reduce your potential threats because if you don't reduce potential threats, they will become major, major problems. And you don't want that to happen. So your SWOT analysis is a risk mitigation tool. It allows you to look at things and prepare for future events. So as I mentioned before, this 4-square matrix chart, okay, of the SWOT analysis, okay, it's a strategic planning tool that evaluates your internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats. Key on that, okay, things that are internal, your strengths and weaknesses, these are internal to you and to your business, okay, and external threats, let me back up here, I'm sorry. Your internal threats you have control over. You can correct them. You drive them. Your external threats, okay, your opportunities and threats, you have no control over these. These are things that are going to happen whether you want them to happen or don't want them to happen. Opportunities you want to capitalize on, and threats you want to mitigate. You are not going to eliminate every single threat. Threats are going to happen. One of the most major threats we saw over the last 4 years, was the pandemic. Trust me when I say nobody saw that coming. And when it hit us, we really didn't take it that seriously. I mean, we sat up here in our office and when they said they were going to close businesses, we kind of said, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. But guess what? They told small business owners they had to shut down. That was a huge threat. So what did you need to do? If you were a smart business owner, you pivoted. You took the opportunity and you started looking at different sales channels. Small business owners that did SWOT analysis knew, you know what, I can sell my products online, or I can go door to door, or I can get in my truck and drive down the road and stop in a neighborhood to do my deliveries. Okay, your strengths and weaknesses are internal to you and your business. Okay, again, whereas your opportunities and threats are external to your business. You need to be able to identify each and know how to address each one of them. You don't want this equation to balance. You do not want these squares to be balanced. There should not be an equal weight on the scales here. Okay, you want to be in a cycle of perpetual self-improvement and growth. You want to be able to keep growing stronger. You want to be able to keep reducing your weaknesses. Okay, you want your opportunities to increase while your threats decrease. So there is going to be an imbalance here, and you want to make sure it's always like that. Now, In business, the only thing, as in life, that we know for certain is that we are in perpetual constant change. The more that things remain the same, the more that they change, So we always have change. You don't want to rest on your past success. Just because you had an event in the past where you sold a lot of product, you don't want to rely on that happening again because people may not show up. It may rain, or there may be some other factor that's driving people not to want to come to your business. In the same regard, you don't want to dwell on past failures. Just because you had an event and it did not go well doesn't mean it's going to be repeated in the future. What you have to do with those failures is you have to analyze them. You have to determine what went wrong. What do we need to correct? Okay. The ship was not on course. We need to recorrect our navigation so we get back on course and sail more efficiently. That's the purpose of your SWOT analysis. You want to identify the important elements in your business. What is important to your business? What drives revenue? What drives change? Okay. Make your changes. Move forward. Do not dwell in the past. Don't be a naysayer. Okay. You have to be optimistic when it comes to this. Now, when we talk about strengths, you have your internal resources. You have your knowledge of your business, how you develop your products, how you make your products, things like that. It may just be your customer service, your products, your services, your processes. These are all the things that you do well and that the company does well. It's important to identify these. You want to jot them down and keep writing them down because they're going to change. Your strengths will enhance your company's competitiveness in the market. It allows you to be more competitive and generate more revenue for your business because people are going to look at you and go, you do that well, or I like the way that business does their service. You don't have to have the best product in the world, but if you have great customer service, people will always come. Now, some examples of strengths, okay, are your specialized skills. These make companies highly competitive relative to other companies. So if you do something that another company doesn't do and you do it extremely well, again, it's going to allow your company to be more profitable. It's going to allow your company to be very strong and you to be strong as a business owner. So like if you have a low cost operation, this is an example of strength. You're keeping your costs down, which allows you to keep your revenue high. Or if you're taking advantage of advanced technologies, they could be in the form of electronics. It could be in the latest catchphrase currently, AI. Everybody is jumping on the AI bandwagon. If you're not using AI in your business, I would highly encourage you to look into it because it can help you. It doesn't replace what you do, but it can augment what you are doing. If you're looking for ideas, a little chat with an AI bot will do wonders for you. If you take an AI bot and put it on your website, it can imitate acting like a person. So when people are conducting a chat, it allows you to provide feedback to that customer as if it was a human. Okay. Also, you want to have high quality products and services. These are examples of having a very strong background in your business. Okay. And then you want to fine tune your supply chain management functions. If you are not using a lot of business owners don't think they use supply chain in regards to that, but you really do. Even if you're just buying from Amazon, you do have a supply chain that you're using because Amazon, you're going to rely on UPS, you're going to rely on FedEx, and you're going to rely on the postal service. So if one of them is not moving efficiently, you need to find different ways. So when we talk about fine tuning your supply chain management functions, you don't want to be tied down to one supplier. Make sure you have different avenues because that's going to give you a stronger bedrock foundation to work from. Additional strengths, your research, development, introduction of new and or innovative products. So if you're in a manufacturing business, if you're designing new things, or even if you're in your food service business and you're just creating new food items, new menu items, that's huge. You could be a first to market with new products. There are challenges with being first to market. There are some concerns. So you need to be able to alleviate the risk of being first to market and ensure that you're putting out a good product that people are going to want to buy. And lastly, if you have a specialized expertise in your field, that is a huge strength, because if nobody can do what you can do, guess what? You are the king and queen of that market. So with your strengths as well, you have your assets. That's your equipment and or facilities. When you look at these as being strengths, you want to look at your technologically advanced equipment. Are you using updated equipment, or are you still using Windows 98? If you are using Windows 98, oh man, that's a serious thing. You want to make sure that you have good, high quality equipment. The location, Abilene, we are rural, but your location matters. Okay, if you are selling a certain item, you don't necessarily want to be out by the train tracks. If you're trying to open a reading store, you don't necessarily want to have it right by the train tracks where the train is coming through. That would not be a strength. You would want to be in a quiet area, in a probably upscale downtown part of town. Do you have a modern warehouse or distribution facilities, or are you still using old technology that doesn't have adequate cooling or heating? Does your business have the capacity to grow? If you no longer have the capacity to grow, that is going to become a weakness. You must be in a cycle of perpetual growth. Your business must be able to expand. Also in strengths, you have your human capital. How well is your management team? What is the depth? Can you have more than one person doing the same function? If you are not doing your cross-marketing of your people, if they're not doing different jobs, that is a weakness. You need to be sure that you cross-flow your people into different areas so that they can do all aspects of the job. Are your employees experienced? Are they long-term? Or do you have a high turnover? Look at your processes. Look at what you're doing with your employees. Why do you have high turnover? You want to build a strong corporate culture so that you have a strong workforce. That will allow you to have employees who are highly motivated and they're competent because they know what they're doing. They're going to want to be there. People are going to feel comfortable talking to them. When we look at your intangible assets, that includes your marketing and selling superiority. Where are you sitting as far as your marketing goes? Okay, where are you sitting as far as the selling of your products? Are you available? Are you able to move your products in a timely fashion? Do you have a broad base of customers? Is your customer base loyal? Are they long term? Or do you keep getting new customers because they're only coming in shopping by them one time? You want to have repeat customers because those are your loyal customers. There's nothing stronger than having a loyal customer. Again, do you have a broad base of suppliers? Are they providing quality service? Is their price good? Is it competitive? Or are you just going to them because they're the only game in town? You want to find different suppliers for the products and services that you need. And is your business recession proof as much as possible? No business is going to be 100% recession proof, but you want to make sure that you mitigate your risk when this comes into play. Now, with non-seasonal businesses, they need to be able to pivot. Okay, if you have a lawn care, lawn mowing, landscaping business, what do you do during the wintertime? You need to find other areas to broaden your business. Go out and see if you can do leaf raking, tree trimming, things of that nature, or winterizing of lawns and things of that nature. That's going to help you strengthen your business. Do you have a branded name? Do people know who you are? Do you have a branded logo? Or are you just kind of relying on word of mouth? Your internal and organizational assets, okay, you're going to want to look at your financial strength and resources. You want to make sure that you have enough equity in your business. If you don't have money in the bank, you need to relook at what you're doing with your business. If your business is not generating revenue, you need to look at what your business is doing. Look at the strengths and weaknesses of your business. Why is it not generating revenue? What are you doing incorrectly? Do you have excellent customer service and support? That is a huge strength. Again, people love people that care about the business. They don't want to come in and have employees surfing Facebook or whatever on their phone, not taking care of them. They want to have employees that are engaged with them. Also, do you have proprietary assets? Do you have something that you use in your business that nobody else can use? If you do, that is very strong because again, you are the only game in town if you are doing that. Now, when we talk about weaknesses, your weaknesses are your internal resources that a company does not do so well or that you completely lack. You may not have the resources to do what you need to do. You may not have the people. That may be one of your weaknesses. You don't have strong people because you're having such high turnover, so you can't get somebody trained. This all contributes to a company's competitive disadvantage or deficiencies. This is going to be a downfall to your company, a detriment. You want to make sure that you are analyzing this and trying to figure out what you need to do to correct this. Some examples are a lack of expertise in the business field. You may have people that don't understand your job. And if you're hiring people, it's kind of difficult sometimes because we'll hire people and they'll say they know how to do something, but when you get them in there, you find that they really don't. You need to take the time to train them, to mentor them, to help them grow, okay, and improve that expertise. You may not have employees that want to stick around. That's a very challenging aspect of every job. You have to look at different ways. One of the ways that you're going to be able to retain employees is build a strong corporate culture. Start hiring people that are like-minded. Don't just hire people because they come in. Sometimes you have to wait to find that right employee. And again, compensation. If you can compensate them well, they will stick around. Even if the compensation is not that great, if they have a feeling of family, if they have a feeling of employers that care, they will stick around. If you have inferior and or obsolete equipment or facilities, if your facilities are run down, that's a weakness. If your equipment is not up to date, if it's not modern, that's a very strong weakness. And you want to make sure that you are analyzing this and improving upon this. You also may be subject to being in a poor location. Just because you have a store in a strip mall doesn't mean you're in a great location. There are some locations here in Abilene where stores don't do so well because people don't know they're there. You look at some of the retail locations that are set up. There's one over on South 14th where if you didn't know there were stores in the back of this building, would you ever go there? Probably not, because there's not a lot of signs. If you are in a poor location, you need to make sure that there is signage that states where you're at. You need to make sure that you're posting out on social media to let people know where you're at, that you're advertising locally to let people know. Sometimes drop cards, mail flyers will help people understand where you're located at. This is all part of your ineffective marketing if you're not doing this, okay? That's going to be a weakness in your business. And also, if your business doesn't have a strategic direction, if you don't have a strategy, how do you know where you're going? It's like taking a road trip back in the day before we had GPSs and you needed a Rand McNally road atlas and you had the wrong road atlas in the car. So you really didn't know where you were going. If you have a weak financial position and resources, this is a weakness as well. This could be due to a lack of revenue. It could be to high cost, which again, equates to high cost, low profits. You want to keep your expenses low and your revenue high. You may not have any new products or service innovations. You may be relying on doing the same old thing. Just because you sell burgers doesn't mean you need to sell the same old burger. Keep thinking about new ways to reinvent that burger. It could be putting an egg on it. It could be putting a pineapple on it. It could be putting a slice of ham and some bacon on it, making that Munster burger. Or it could be making that juicy 2-pound burger that nobody can eat. If you have non-responsive customer service and follow-up, if people are posting on your Google My Business profile and they're saying your business is not doing so well and you don't respond to their negative comments, that's not a good thing. It's a weakness. You want to respond to it. If somebody tells you your business is not doing well, ask them why. What did we not do so well so that we know how to correct it? Because when you analyze it and you start doing these things, it becomes a strength. You turn that weakness around into a strength because you're responding to people immediately and in a timely fashion. Also, if you don't have a very strong product line, this could be a weakness, but it really depends on your industry. Sometimes having less is more. Prime example, major company that's out there on the market right now, Chick-fil-A or Chick-fil-A, however you want to say it, they have a very limited menu. All they serve is chicken. They have a salad, and that's pretty much it. They have French fries or waffle fries. They don't deviate beyond that. And when you look at their menu, there's only like 6 line items on their menu. You don't go in there and have 12 menu boards with 47 different menu items. They do a very limited menu and they do very well. So sometimes having a narrow product line does become a strength, but you have to be able to do it well. If you have a small customer base compared to competition, again, this can be one of those things that you need to look at strategically, because sometimes we need to figure out, if we have a small base, are we generating enough revenue to turn a profit? Just because you have a small base isn't the end of the world. However, if your small customer base, if you're selling to the wrong people, it may be a marketing thing, and that could be a weakness. It could be you haven't found your correct target market, and you want to look at that and analyze it so that you can resolve that problem. When we look at market opportunities, you could have untapped markets that you haven't targeted. Sometimes as business owners, when we're trying to sell, we confuse the end user with the customer. These are two different categories of individuals or entities, especially in the medical field. When we look at the end user, that's the patient, but they are not necessarily the customer unless they are direct pay. The customer is actually the insurance companies, because that's who you want to target. That's who all your marketing efforts should go towards. While you want to attract the right patient, which, the right patient for most medical practices is the patient that can pay, you want to target the insurance companies. So how do you equate that to a retail market and do the same thing? Well, if you're selling like t-shirts, okay, you want to make sure that you're selling t-shirts to the right group. You don't sell t-shirts to everyone. While everyone may buy your t-shirt, they may not be your major target customer. You want to target, depending on what's on your shirts. Okay, if you have those crazy design shirts that you're trying to impress upon the young people, you don't necessarily want to target market elderly people for the same t-shirts. That doesn't mean they're not going to buy the t-shirt. But for your growth and profit of your business, your major target market is going to be that 18 to 35 age group, and probably predominantly male, unless you're making female designs that attract to them. That's why you see a lot of companies like, I think Reebok and Nike, when they started making jerseys, selling the team jerseys, they started coming in different colors. So they started attracting more female customers. They started making them pink, darker colors or brighter colors, things of that nature. So you must match your strengths and opportunity to yield your maximum profit. That's the point that we're trying to make here with the market opportunities. You may consider expanding geographically, because that is an opportunity, or globally with existing products or services. If you haven't considered Amazon for Business, to sell on Amazon or selling on eBay, you may want to consider that, depending on what your product market is. If you're a retailer, if you're a service provider, you can't necessarily provide that service online unless what you're doing is a digital service. There are companies out there that do this. Like if you were a consultant like me, we can be geographic or global, because we don't have to be limited to here in Texas. I can meet with people like we're doing this Zoom webinar and do the same thing. So these are all things you want to look at. There are opportunities that exist. You need to figure out, how can I apply these to my business industry? You may add complementary products or services to your business. Just because you're selling burgers doesn't mean that's all you're going to sell. Many burger places have gone into the dessert business. They'll sell ice cream. They may sell pies, things of that nature. Find complement products that work well with what you're selling. Ultimately, you may want to purchase a competitor. Some people look at this as, man, that's not good because that's hostile takeover, all this other stuff. But it could be growth of the business because you can purchase the competitor and not do away with their brand, which that happens in a lot of acquisitions and mergers. The companies will combine, but they still retain their separate identities. They are separate entities. You may want to diversify your product or service offerings. Look at what you're doing. You may not be offering enough. You may want to offer some more, but don't go overboard. And lastly, you want to develop some strategic alliances with other business partners. Don't be afraid to work with other businesses because while you may look at them as direct competition, competition is good. Okay, competition is good for all of you. Here in Taylor County, we have 129,000 people. You do not need 129,000 people coming through your door for you to be profitable. You need to figure out how many you do need. When we look at some of the insurance companies here in town, what they do, they don't offer the same type of insurance. You know, you may be in the same industry, but you may do things differently. You will go to them and they say, I can't do this, but you may want to go over here to Bob because Bob's company does offer this. And that's what a strategic alliance does. It helps your businesses to grow, both of you. You want to make sure that you're hiring talented, skilled employees to enter any new market or territory that you're going to move into, or if you're offering a new product or service. You don't just want to create something and throw it out there, you know, with the motto that if I build it, they will come, because that's not going to work. You also want to discover underserved markets and satisfy the needs of that market. Abilene has a pretty large underserved market. There are a lot of opportunities here. You just need to go and attract those people to your businesses. We can help you with some research to identify where these target markets may be and what you can do to help grow your business. When we look at external threats, they will always exist. They are always there. There's always a potential for rain. There's always a potential for thunderstorms. So, you know, you never know when they're going to happen. You may have a forecast saying it's not going to happen and then it does happen. Or you may have a forecast that says it's going to happen and then it doesn't happen. That's a threat. We just need to mitigate it to the best of our ability. These things can hinder your company's profitability and competitive edge because you don't know when they're going to happen. And you don't know if you're not prepared for them, they can be very detrimental. You want to foresee your threats and minimize the effect if they materialize. Again, you're not going to mitigate them 100%, but you are going to reduce the impact it's going to have on your business. Some threats that you may encounter is competition with a cheaper or better product. The only way that you can address these is to build a better product. Okay. Making something cheaper is not necessarily going to make your product sell more. You need to build a better product and incentivize that customer to buy your product. The bottom line is people will pay what they think a product is worth. To provide an example, look at the different cell phones that are on the market. Some cost $1,000, some cost $200, $300. Why would people pay $1,000 for a cell phone? They just do, because people feel it's worth it. You may be in competition with less expensive foreign imports. Alibaba was the big company on the market prior to the pandemic. They've kind of fallen a little bit. Now there's a company out there called, I believe it's Temu, something like that. And they're doing some crazy things. I don't know much about their products because they look kind of scary to me. But I guess they've been selling a lot here in the States. These things can impact your business. But again, your product when you build it, you're going to be able to provide a value proposition to your customers and explain why your product is better than these imports or why it's better than this other product over here. Now, we may be subject to new taxes or business regulations that may impact our business. Here in Texas, we do not have too many things that change. Texas is a business-friendly state. So depending on your industry, there's usually not a lot of things that are going to impact you too greatly, especially in the retail market. However, if you're in the oil industry, things are changing constantly. So those will impact your market. You could have an increase in operating costs, which are going to happen out of your control. The pandemic, another example of that, because shipping went up. We heard of shipping containers, people shipping from overseas, shipping container prices going from $2,000 up to $20,000. That's kind of crazy. Right now, the big thing is interest rates. Interest rates are extremely high. I don't know if they're going to get any higher, but they are pretty high right now. So you definitely want to shop around because this is increasing your operating cost, and this is a threat. There's also a current shift in the customer or supplier base for various reasons. Customers are becoming more conscious of companies that are environmentally conscious. So you may want to consider that as you move forward. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. Another threat, larger company with more financial resources and duplicating product or service. Everybody likes to look at Amazon. Everybody likes to look at Walmart. Two things I will like to point out is it is important to remember Amazon is not like Walmart, for one. Amazon is comprised of many small business owners that are selling products on there. Walmart is a large corporation. Even though Amazon is a large corporation as well, they are relying on small business owners to provide those products. So that's a different type of threat that we're looking at from a different standpoint. But Walmart typically provides a lot of product at a much lower cost because they have economy of scale, which small business owners cannot compete with. So what do you do when it comes to Walmart? You market towards the sensibilities of your customer base, and you explain to them how shopping in your store is more efficient and more time. They spend less time in your store than they will at Walmart. That's what's going to help drive you with that. But it is a threat that you need to be aware of, and you need to be prepared to counter it. Currently, tight credit market is affecting business owners and consumers as well. So that's a concern. While a weak economy could be a concern, right now we're being told that the economy is very strong. I'm not sure how to take that because when we look at the numbers, we're getting mixed reportings from the numbers. So the economy currently, I think, is a threat, is going to continue to be a threat for some time because everything we do takes 12 to 18 months to be realized within the business world. So a lot of the changes that are happening right now, we will not see the impact until a year from now. Now, your bargaining power of a major customer that reduces your profit. So if you have somebody that is buying in bulk, that could affect your profit as a whole because they may be wanting a reduced price or they may want to go elsewhere. So you will sell to them so you don't lose that customer. That is a threat. Or your customer or your competitor may actually poach that customer by offering them a less cost than what you're having. So what emerges from your SWOT analysis? The best thing that emerges is a strategic plan for the future, okay? It allows you to chart a course or to begin charting your course for what to do in the future to mitigate risk. So how do you get started? What do you do? First off, you take a blank sheet of paper. That's the real basic thing. And draw a cross on there, okay? 4 segments. So you want it 4 equally divided. And inside there, you're going to start putting your information. You could do this on a whiteboard as well. I've seen people use large whiteboards or even people use walls in their offices to write on Gather your employees. Get your employees together, because if you want to know about your business, you're going to do one for your business and figure out what does your business do well. You're going to ask your employees to do a SWOT analysis on themselves. Okay. This serves two purposes. One, it lets you know if they're willing to identify their own weaknesses. Two, it helps you in determining who are your strong employees. Okay. Just like you're going to do your own SWOT analysis, you're going to look at that for your employees, and you're going to start utilizing their strengths in their areas where they do things really well. And you're going to help them improve upon their weaknesses so that they don't have as many weaknesses, so that they can do even more things well. That in turn is going to lead to them having more satisfaction in their job and allow you to generate more profit and revenue for your business. Ultimately, what is the goal? The goal is you want to capitalize on your strengths and weaknesses, or strengths and opportunities, excuse me. These are things that are going to allow you to drive profit. They're going to help you move up. They're going to help you do your business much better. They're going to help you streamline things, find more operational efficiencies that allow you to grow. Your strengths, rely on them, rely on your people. Take them to seize the opportunities that are out there. When an opportunity arises, you're going to be ready to pounce on it and do more with it. You want to improve upon your weaknesses and your threats, because weaknesses are a detriment. If you don't do something well, and if you don't take the time to improve upon it, what's going to happen? Your business is going to suffer. So if your customer service is lacking, you need to improve the customer service. If your operational efficiencies are lacking, you need to look at your operational efficiencies, okay, and improve upon them, because it's only going to benefit your business. Now, threats, again, you have no control over, but you can mitigate against them. If you can think of a threat, write it down, and then determine, what will I do if this happens? We did not know the pandemic was going to happen. Nobody had a pandemic threat reduction plan. When the pandemic happened, it hit us hard. Businesses suffered. We struggled here at the SBDC to help business owners, because we had to figure out what else was going to happen. Because as soon as one thing happened, they would say, okay, now this business is closed. They can't do this. So there's a lot of different things that are going on, but we started creating these large matrices and started looking at, well, what do we do if this happens? We started doing a lot of what they call skunk works, theorizing. And we just came up with some crazy ideas. And we just said, hey, if this happens, we need to pivot here and do this. And that's what we started getting business owners to start doing. Start looking at your threats and figure out what's out there. What do I know? Because you don't know what you don't know. Ask your employees, what do they think is a threat? If you think it's going to happen, create a plan to mitigate it, okay? That's the purpose of your SWOT analysis. It allows you to look at all these things and capitalize and improve upon your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So let's look at some things to remember as we get ready to prepare your SWOT analysis. Hopefully all of you have jotted all this down. You're going to get ready to do a SWOT analysis. I will be sending out, actually, I will send you out in the after action for this webinar. I will send you a little sheet that will help you work on a SWOT analysis for yourselves and for your business. Okay, so remember that your SWOT analysis is a work in progress. It is not a one and done. Once you do it, it is a living document. It will continue to change. Why? Because you keep getting stronger at things, or you find new weaknesses as you find new strengths, okay? There's always going to be new opportunities that arise, and there's always going to be new threats upon the horizon. These things will forever be there, okay? SWOT factors, you know, they always change. Again, they always change. So as you start, your list in each category could be short, or it could be endless. If you find that your list is getting very large, you want to prioritize what is in that list. Put the things, when you talk about strengths, you want to put your major strengths up top. and put your lessers down towards the bottom. Or you could look at it as a reverse pyramid and put your lessers up top and your greater strengths at the bottom. That way, you know you have to improve on what's on the top half. Okay, and use the bottom as your bedrock. See, I like that. I'm going to use that. When you look at your weaknesses, okay, it's the same thing. It could be quite large. It could be quite small. If your weaknesses are small, I think you need to relook at your weaknesses. Again, be truthful with yourself. Do not tell yourself falsehoods. We know we don't do things well. We just don't like to admit it, not even to ourselves. Because when we do, we feel like we are failures. And that's not a good way to think about this. If you look at people that are successful, they are able to look at their weaknesses and they are able to capitalize on that because they improve them. They find ways to improve them. Same thing with your opportunities and threats, okay? Accumulation of various strengths provide a competitive edge, all right? Never be dependent upon one person. Never be dependent upon one product or service or intangible asset. Make sure you have many eggs in your basket. Make sure you can pick someone to do the job, okay? And that someone you pick is going to be able to do the job very well. All strengths have a synergetic effect that make a company valuable. Okay, it makes you very valuable. If all your people are strong, people will always rely on that company. Think about who you shop with, who you do business with, and think about why you do it. That's going to help you with your SWOT analysis. Whatever strength the company has, another company will eventually try to imitate it. Why? Because imitation is the greatest form of flattery, all right? People will try and imitate, but here's the problem with that. If you try and imitate somebody else's strengths, you will find that you will falter because you are not the same individual. You are not the same being, and we all do things differently. The more strengths a company has, the greater its ability to continue to grow and add to its strengths. It has a snowball effect. The snowball effect. It's ever changing. It will always allow your business to grow and people will attract more customers. So regardless of a company's strengths, it is the competent people who drive an organization to achieve competitive superiority. Again, we get back to that one thing, people. Invest in your people. Invest in them conducting a SWOT analysis. Make sure you understand what their strengths are. Make sure you understand their weaknesses so that you can help them improve it. Because if you help your customer, your client, if you help your employees improve their weaknesses, they are going to feel more inclined to do more for the business because they know you care. They know you are trying to make them a better individual. Competitive disadvantages increase as the number and magnitude of weaknesses increase. So if you allow these weaknesses to propagate, again, it has a snowball effect in the negative direction. You start getting covered by the avalanche. Instead of digging out of the snow, you're getting more snow piled on as you're digging. All companies have weaknesses, but competitive advantage goes to the company that has more strengths than weaknesses. So definitely look at this and analyze your strengths and weaknesses, and you want that imbalance to be higher with strengths, lower on weaknesses. Your perception of weaknesses is the reality in the marketplace. Consumers know this. Consumers see this. They don't have confidence in companies that don't do things well. You see this all the time in the news when we start talking about businesses that are failing or businesses that are doing things not so well. Known weaknesses must be confronted as soon as possible to correct the deficiencies. Again, if you know you're not doing something well, don't let it fester, because it's like with anything else. That little sore suddenly turns into a major health problem. Take care of that weakness. If we pick the low-hanging fruit, the tree blossoms, okay? So take care of the things when they arise. Don't let them grow large. Weaknesses that contribute most to a company's competitive disadvantage must have priority and be corrected as soon as possible. You need to make sure that anything that is going to adversely, negatively affect your company, you need to take care of it. There is a good case in the world today that I'm not going to mention the company, but there is a company that did something that was, I don't know if it was questionable, but they had a marketing campaign that kind of went out there and they did not handle it well, in my opinion. And everything they've done after the fact has compounded the problem because it just keeps getting worse for them. This is affecting their business. And I think if they would have approached it in a different manner, things probably wouldn't have gotten to where they are right now. So we look at this because the longer a deficiency exists, the greater the company competitive disadvantage. So in the case of this company, they're being adversely affected by this. I don't know if it's really affecting their bottom line, but as a small business owner, if this was impacting you, it would be great. Okay. And this is something that you would need to take care of immediately. Not all opportunities are realistic for a business to undertake. Okay. You need to remember that as well. The internal resources must be present in order for you to take advantage of an opportunity. If you don't have the resources, you can't do it. If you don't have equity, if you don't have money in the bank, a lot of times you can't do it. So you have to find another way to correct it or to take advantage of it. Older threats might subside, but new threats will constantly emerge. Again, this cycle of perpetual motion. No matter how much we take care of things, the dirt keeps piling up. It always happens. We're in West Texas. You're always going to have that sand that blows in from Lubbock. So we know it's going to emerge. We need to take care of it. You need to be able to see these external threats. You need to be able to counter them. You want to know in advance what action will be taken to minimize your negative effects if a threat materializes. So you're going to create a little book. You're going to create an action plan. So all of your employees know, you know what, if we get rain like we did before, and it starts coming in, well, you know what, Bob, you need to go get the buckets, put them out over here. We need to make sure we put sandbags by the door. You're going to have a plan. You're going to mitigate the risk. So now what is next, okay? After you complete your SWOT analysis, you want to draw conclusions about your company. It's going to help you understand your company and your business a lot better. It's going to help you understand yourself a lot better. You want to consider change. Do I need to make change? Okay, what changes need to be made and why? That is the most important question you need to ask about everything you're doing here. Why? Why don't I do this well? Why do I do this well? Okay, you want to utilize your strengths. You want to improve upon your weaknesses. Both of these go hand in hand. Use your strengths to improve upon your weaknesses. What you do well, keep doing it well and improve upon it. Okay, what you don't do so well, take the time to learn about what you're not doing so well so that you can improve upon it, and then it becomes a strength. Capitalize on all of your opportunities as they arise. Don't let them fester, okay? Go ahead and take the time to capitalize on it. And you want to reduce all your potential threats. So your SWOT analysis is going to allow you to achieve, give you a much higher chance of achieving success in your business. It's going to help you to gain a competitive edge because you're going to understand yourself a lot better. You're going to understand your business a lot better. You're going to understand your people a lot better. And it's a synergetic approach because these all are going to combine into one and they're going to merge. Okay. It's going to be a symbiotic thing. And you need to make sure that all of them are gelling together, because if something is not fitting into place, you need to work on correcting it and cutting it out, carving out, and making sure it does fit into place. Okay. It's going to solidify your strength in the marketplace. Knowing what you do well, what you don't do so well, being able to take advantage of opportunities when they arise, and being able to identify threats, you're going to be a market leader. And ultimately, what does that mean to you as a business owner? Increased productivity, increased loyalty, and increased profits. That's a win-win-win. And that's what we want to have as small business owners. That is all of the presentation that I have for today. I hope that you have learned a little bit about SWOT analysis and the importance of it. As I said, I am going to send out some material in the after action that you will receive in an email, which will provide some more detailed information about SWOT analysis and give you some tools to help you work on one for yourself and your business. I would like to take questions at this time. If there are any questions, you can pop them up in chat, or you can unmute your mic, whatever the case may be. I'll be happy to take some questions for the next couple of minutes. if there are no questions at this time, that will conclude today's webinar. And I would like to thank you all for attending and provide you with a final closing thought when it comes to SWOT analysis. In the ever-changing landscape of business, remember that a SWOT analysis is your compass. It guides you through uncharted territory and empowers you to navigate the turbulent waters of uncertainty. Don't set sail without it. To help you better understand this, consider this. Think of a skilled sailor setting out on a treacherous voyage without a compass. The outcome is uncertain, and the journey becomes a series of guesswork and blind navigation. Similarly, conducting a SWOT analysis equips you with the essential tools to steer your business through the unpredictable currents of the market. It's pretty strong and powerful, and I would like you to consider that and remember that as you go forward. And once again, thank you for attending. This has been a presentation of America's Small Business Development Center at Texas Tech University here in Abilene. And I would like to wish you all a very lovely day.